Tell us a little bit about Wargroove and a little bit about kind of the experience that players are going to get when they jump into this game.
Okay, so Wargroove is a light tactics game. It's very easy to pick up, but it has many layers of depth. So we hope to appeal for players who are new to the genre, but also have a really good experience for people who are really into strategy games, have a nice competitive scene even. Yeah.
Excellent. So when our players kind of jump into this game, what kind of ways are they going to be playing? What kind of modes can we see in Wargroove?
So we have a single-player mode. In single-player, we have a campaign, a lengthy campaign that tells like the canonical story of Wargroove, and we have a multiplayer mode where you can play local or online. Local can play co-op, or online even you can play co-op. You can play versus. The online is like asynchronous multiplayer or synchronous, so you can have multiple matches going on at once. You take your turn when you're ready and keep going.
And then obviously I see down here custom content as well. So I think this is one of the biggest things about Wargroove, and one of the most exciting things about this as a tactical game is that players are going to be able to create their own custom, I believe, campaigns, cutscenes, animations, and more.
Yeah, and you can create your own maps as well. So if you want to create your own campaign, you can completely kind of add your own text and change the names of like some of the units and stuff. You have branching stories as well. So we're really keen to see what players are going to come up with.
Excellent. So obviously, I don't want to leave you guys waiting any longer. Let's jump into game. We're going to be going for a 1 versus 1 right now, then, I believe. So again, we do have local and online competitive modes. So let's choose our characters and who we're going to be going for.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Tenri. She's the Empress of Heavensong. Her special move is she can move units around the battlefield, either allies or enemies. She's a very tactical character.
Okay, and for you then
I think I'm going to go with Nuru. She is, you might recognize her from our game Starbound. She's from the Floran tribe, and they're like a kind of carnivorous plant. So she's pretty badass, I think. So
I think you also change the color of your units as well, so you can obviously, even the ones that are kind of like specified and canonical characters can be modified and edited. So we're going to be getting straight underway with the game, and as you can see, it is just that kind of very traditional and well-loved top-down tactical style of game. So it starts off that both characters, or both players, have 2 units on the map, or 3 units on the map. They can obviously move those units wherever they want, and then go into their base to create, using the money they have, even more units.
Yeah, so I'm the yellow player, so for my initial move, I'm going towards those 2 neutral buildings in the top. The city is going to give me more income, and the tower is going to let me recruit air units.
So the objective here is obviously we do have, as you mentioned, the colored buildings denoting who owns which. Then you have the uncolored ones that you want to take over and become your base. So I believe the idea of this 1v1 mode is to defeat all of the opposing bases and then all the units of your opponent.
Yeah, you can either defeat the enemy stronghold, or you can defeat their enemy commander. So the commander is a very interesting unit in Wargroove because they're very powerful. They have special abilities that charge by using them in battle. But if they're defeated, you will.
Yeah. So I was going to say, on this, we're just going to hold on this screen here. So this is the unit creation screen. So when you go to your main base, you have these units. You can create a huge variety, even Shiba Inu, should you prefer. The amount they cost is usually kind of like in a mirror to how strong they can be, I believe. So we have information like what the other units are effective against and ones they're weak against. So this is going to really, you want, does the opponent see what the other player is doing in this menu?
Yeah. I mean, you can see what all the moves the enemy is doing. We have fog of war maps, and under fog of war, some information is hidden. But the standard way to play Wargroove is with open information. Okay.
So let's get underway. So we've talked about the unit creation. We talked about that simple or that traditional tactical overlooking of everything. So I think one thing that we want to talk about is how combat works as a whole. So I don't mean to kind of like ruin your tactics, guys, but maybe if we can have a little bit of an engage here and see what combat looks like. One thing I want to talk about whilst we get to that moment is that just how beautiful the sprite art and animation is. I was having a chat with you guys before, and I was asking like who are these wonderful sprite artists who work with you, because it's very impressive stuff.
Yeah, well, we have some of them in the audience right now.
Where are our sprite artists?
Yeah.
You? Is this all you? You too? It's absolutely stunning, and I have to say a very, very impressive piece of work to look at. So I think we should get a bit aggressive.
Yeah, let's
get aggressive.
So
Go on, Katie, go for it. So what are you trying to do right now, Katie, with your strategy?
So I've just created 2 stabbers, which are our kind of pikemen of the Floran race, and they get a critical when they are next to each other. So my aim was to try and kind of hone them in on enemy units, but I look like I've made a bit of a bad move with that archer range.
It's not done yet. It's not done yet. So you're talking about this idea of criticals. So they're not just a random, like completely random in something, say like Shining Force, where it's a 1 in 32 chance. I've been on the wrong end of that a few times. But then, and it isn't like kind of something that you can see with a set percentage. Different units have different situations that they can crit in.
Right.
So you were saying that the pikemen need to be together.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And for example, here you've got a swordsman, so if they're next to your commander, they will have a critical as well. So
is it a guaranteed crit, or is it just a higher chance to get that critical?
It's guaranteed,
Guaranteed.
Yes. This adds an extra layer of strategy that you have to think about the positioning, not just what's in range of what, but also what is the most effective way to use those units, considering the crits of all the units on the board.
Okay, so I can see that you've got like, normally in these kind of games when there's like AoE kind of spells and stuff, you want to try and keep away from this, crosshair position and maybe go for a bit more of a checkerboard. But here we've got these 2 pikemen together for you here, Katie, and maybe you're going to try and move them in and try and get those crits to take out the archers,
yes,
perhaps.
exactly.
Okay, I didn't mean to trying to read your strats here. So let's see what Katie decides to do.
The stronger one, it's out of range.
Yeah. I don't know if I can do this now. Let's get
Oh,
my
wow.
finger out of the way.
So other units in the way also affect obviously how far you can move, so you want to make sure that everyone's together.
Yeah, and I don't really want to place them on a water tile because you can see down the bottom there is a lower defense. So
Okay, so the bottom right-hand corner you're talking about here, this is
Yeah.
kind of a land effect,
whereas
essentially.
Wiz here has a higher defense, so that's kind of probably a better move for me. But
Yep.
we'll see.
So this is both local and online multiplayer, you say, so that players can be playing this with their friends in their home,
Yep.
on the go. I was going to ask something when it comes to the Switch functionality of the version of the game. Is it a case of being able to pop out the Joy-Con and using just the Joy-Con to control the game as well?
You can play with a single Joy-Con, or you can pass and play if you'd like.
Oh, so you do pass control around to play as well?
Yeah, you can.
Very nice.
Whichever way you prefer, really.
So a plethora and a bunch of open ways that players can get involved and play this game, depending on how many controllers they have to hand, which yeah, isn't the case for everyone. So our archers getting involved in attacking our what creatures are those? Very, very fluffy sheep, buffalo riders. I like it.
So let's move this here. And
Okay, Katie, we need to get involved and take the fight to our opponents.
Just short of money to get a dragon. I'll get the next turn. I'll get something cheap for now.
I was going to ask, and obviously, because we do have a lot of units with a lot of cost here. How do our players go about getting money to be able to afford these stronger units?
So by controlling the little villages, each one of them will give you 100 gold at the end of the turn. Your castle will likewise also give you 100 gold. So it's very important in this game to keep your economy going well and not let the enemy control more villages than you. So instead of going for the commander, I could, for example, try to take those villages in the top to weaken her economy and then eventually overwhelm her forces with more money.
So this is one of those things that kind of, again, another layer to the strategy element of this game, is that not only are you trying to deal with the, the actual, the military might of your opponents, but the economic might as well.
That's correct.
I wonder where I've heard that kind of concept before. There's another game on our stand that has that kind of military economy style approach. Again, for players who have maybe played something along the lines of something like Advanced Wars or Fire Emblem, what kind of things have you been kind of pushing with this game to really kind of appeal to those sides of things?
I think we try to reach the same charm and accessibility of those games, but keeping the depth. The mechanics are all fundamentally quite simple, but in a way that's still.
We've been working on this game for some time, and it's coming along. What's kind of been like the challenges and the exciting things about working on a game like this, Katie?
A cold wind blows.
I think for us, being in a fantasy setting, that kind of allows us to really be imaginative and play with what we can do in the game world. It's allowed us to be able to bring in the Starbound race, the Florans, and bits like that. So seeing that kind of all come to life and creating all the kind of identities and stories and traits for our commanders has been really exciting.
When it came to the development process as well, you wanted to make a top-down tactical RPG, or tactical RPG, I keep saying RPG, a tactical game. What was the moment when you guys decided that, you know what, we want to make this custom, we want to give our players the ability to create their own campaigns and their own way of playing? At what point do you go, this is a goal we want to have? Was that from the outset, or was that something that came along?
I think it came pretty early on. We have, with Starbound, have had great success with the community being involved with the development of the game and like making mods and really wanting to make their own contribution to the game. And with Wargroove, we decided to put this up front and ship with the game the very same tools we use to make the campaign and the levels with the game. So everything you see in the campaign that you'll be playing the game was made inside the game itself with the same tool that we're giving them. So players will be able to make something to the same.
It's kind of allowing our players to become game devs themselves.
Exactly, yes. And then they can share online, give the code to their friends, or just browse online for the most popular content.
I'm getting a Super Mario Maker vibe from that as well.
Yeah.
We've seen the incredible amount of creativity that our players and friends with Nintendo have created, and it's going to be exciting to see what happens here with Wargroove as well. I was thinking about this because, you know, I have, you know, I as a streamer, I've got my own community. I'm thinking if any of them are watching, we're going to be making a campaign together. Absolutely, we're going to be making a